Hi, everyone. I'm Tracy, your host here at the Mind and Body Lounge podcast. Today, my guest is here to promote mind body health by sharing her cancer journey with us. Many thousands of you know Joy of Joy's Hope Cancer Journey from Facebook. But today we have her video interview in the lounge to speak with us candidly about her cancer journey in a way to prepare, inspire, and find strength. Please join me in welcoming Joy to the show. All right, we are here with Joy Kramer, our guest today. And as mentioned, she will be promoting mind body health by sharing her cancer journey. Joy, thank you so much for joining the show.
Thank you for
And
having me.
absolutely, I think every good story has a beginning. And I would like to start at the beginning of your story with your cancer diagnosis. But what I'd really like to begin with is how we connected and how this whole interview came about. I feel we may have been joining the same online networking group at the same time. I think it was maybe around November or so when I found
Yeah.
same with you. Okay, so it was a small business, women's business owners online networking group, and I was just trying to connect with as many people as possible. I joined it, and I'm fairly certain you were one of the first few people when we did a follow for follow. You engaged right away, which was absolutely phenomenal. But then you began to show up on my feed, and the more I actually followed that little bit of journey, the more intriguing and the more interesting and the more respect I began to feel for you, for your fight, and for your message. So I just want to throw it out there. Anybody who thinks there are a lot of fake accounts on Facebook, I think we all encounter that, but I do want to say it is real. And I think the connection that we've made is incredible. I'm in the States and you are in Canada. And so it is a connection that we do become very international and support is
It's quite
undefined.
global.
It's global and it's undefined and it's unlimited. And for anybody who wants to throw themselves out there, especially with a story such as yours, I think I would encourage that. I think the few conversations you and I have had prior to actually committing to the podcast have been so lovely, and I feel like there are friends to be made around the world. So back to the conversation about how this journey has turned into what it is today. It is a cancer journey, and I think that I would like to begin where you'd like to begin with the story, as close to the beginning, if not at the beginning.
So I believe it was 2023. We were on vacation when I started feeling quite ill that my kids had to wheel me in on a luggage cart to the room. I was that sick.
Oh my God.
And then it passed. I felt better. And after that, we went on a vacation to my parents have a place up in Vermont. Spent my whole life there. It's beautiful, relaxing. And I'm telling my mother after she makes my favorite meal in the world, I said, I'm not well. I feel as if it's pregnancy in the sense that it felt like contractions and you could actually see my colon, like it would pop in and out. There was something jumping around my stomach.
Oh my.
There were sounds going on, and I felt very unwell, again, to the point of vomiting. And I said, we need to call 911. Now, remember, I'm in the States without American medical insurance and didn't know what to do.
Hmm.
So it passed a little bit, and I said, no, I got to continue enjoying the vacation with my family. We're going to amusement parks. We're going to take them to a beach. How can I spoil this? I felt a bit better and continued on with the vacation.
Right.
Excuse me. As soon as we got home to Montreal, I started the process of seeing doctors, and that was probably in August. And I wasn't diagnosed until the beginning of December. It took months
Oh
of
my goodness.
going to so many different doctors, and even my scan was not read for at least 10 days because I ended up in emerge at a different hospital where she finally read my scan. And I don't remember if I did a new scan that day or what have you, but I was told my colon is 100% blocked and I needed to have emergency colon surgery.
So,
And
so it was blocked. So at that time, did they think that it was, did they think it was cancer or did they not know what the
I
blockage?
I believe that they did. They could only confirm it once out, and when pathology. We had to wait through till after the January holidays to know exactly what was going on,
Oh my.
which was terrifying.
Sure.
We didn't know when chemo was going to start if I needed it. And before you get chemo, you need to have a PICC line inserted. And
Hmm.
that takes weeks as well. It's a
Yeah.
small procedure, though it's
Right.
a little painful, I have to say, but
Right.
everything takes time.
Yes.
And our hospitals here, the one that I go to, they're not running chemo 24 hours a day. It's only between 8 and 4, which I think is wrong because
Yeah.
there's so many people on waiting lists who need this help that they
Right.
don't have enough nurses to cover this.
Oh my. Oh my gosh. And did they start the process right away after the first of the year then? Is that
My husband knows the dates better than me. Probably I got the PICC line and I started chemo in January or February. They had
okay?
to wait a little bit of time after the operation to make sure that you're
Sure.
well enough to
Right.
have the
Strong.
chemo. But
Mm-hmm.
when the doctor came into my room after the surgery and tells me that it's cancer and it had spread to my lungs, um, I looked at her and I said, do I have a month to live?
Right.
And she doesn't say anything. And I said, will I be here next week? And I believe she said, I think so. I mean, we were totally shocked. And here I am 2 years later. I'm feeling pretty well, but I have to say, I had lung surgery last past February, and it was more painful than I thought. And I still feel the effects today.
Sure.
And
But
then
you're
go ahead.
continuing the treatments though. Is that correct?
Well, so I had this surgery and then I had to start chemo for a second time. So we had to put a PICC line in a second time.
Oh,
And I was having chemo up until July. It ended in July, and then they discovered some more lung nodules. So I had to have radiation for the second time because after my lung surgery, a few weeks after the lung surgery, as I was going to get the PICC line removed, we get a call that they found more lung nodules. We were shocked. We were devastated. We were in depression
of
mode,
course.
and it was unbelievable. And then this summer in July, I found out that there were more lung nodules. So I had to have 7 rounds of radiation treatments. Sorry, not in July, this December, right? So I think I found out in November that I needed, it was happening again. But
Oh
I
my
was
gosh.
fine from July till November. I felt wonderful.
Wow. And this prognosis now, what are they with the addition of the new findings? How are they treating that? You're on treatments. Are they going to continue to check
So,
back every 3 months? How does this work?
so shortly I'm going for another scan, which we're terrified
Okay,
about. You start
sure.
to get nervous
Well, of
before you
course.
scan. My radio oncologist, the last time we spoke, told me that she saw it as curative, which I'm
Mm,
not sure I believe because I hear from different doctors. I also have a different oncologist that doesn't deal with the radiology. He's
right,
more of the chemo doctor, and
right.
he's on a medical pause right now. So I have a doctor substituting. It's very difficult. You're dealing with a lot of different people. And
Absolutely.
she made them like they were very tiny lung nodules that they were removing.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully there won't be more, but they seem to come back easily. That's the problem.
Yeah, with that,
So,
right, right,
so I'm
right. And
scared I'll be needing more chemo when I've really been enjoying life.
right.
And this weekend I fell ill, and it takes you away. You know when your body needs to rest.
Sure, sure. And I think going through something like this, you learn even more so. I
Yeah.
think a healthy body, people often will override it and say, you know what, I know I should be resting, but I think I can do more. And I think in this particular situation, that's just not advantageous. You know that you have to take the rest and you do have a family. You've mentioned family. How many children, husband, children?
Husband and 5 kids. It's more the three
Right.
younger kids.
Sure.
Um, but
Okay.
but my 21-year-old is quite hourly every few hours. So
Right.
I still have 4 kids basically at home.
Right. Well, that's beautiful. And I know that that's where your mind is. Every parent is almost geared to putting their family first. And
They're,
it's
they're, they're
very
everything, and they've been everything for me. They've
sure,
been like
sure.
rocks for me. So
Right, right, which I'm going to guess is a source of your strength. It's what is keeping you going. And based on some of the posts that I have the pleasure of watching and reading, I know that your children are such a large dynamic of your life and part of your healing and part of what really makes you keep going and waking up every day saying, I know I'm going to do this. And I think it's really beautiful. What
And
I
my
really,
mother, my parents have been very helpful.
uh-huh.
Um, my mother has been my rock. She's always positive. She's never negative. She finds the positivity just in everything. She texts me about every 2 hours for the past 2 years, and I'm not exaggerating. That's just the relationship that we have.
I
And
think
every
that's beautiful.
she sends
Absolutely.
me lists of what to eat and are you eating, are you drinking constantly, and you need to do this.
Hmm.
She's very, very supportive, both my parents.
Well, knowing that, I think I can somewhat put this together for you and say that I think the large tribe of support you seem to have behind you is a
Very
driving,
important.
it's very important. And I also see it as part of your drive to be the support system for those that are following you that tend to be part of your social media family, knowing that perhaps they don't have that same support system. So
Yeah.
watching you, having you be part of their life, I know I feel like you're part of my life, and I know what's going on with you, and I enjoy embracing that sense of strength and hope that you project all the time, even when it's not a great day. You're sharing that to let others know that that's okay, that it's part of it, and I think that that's a support system that you like to project out onto your Facebook family.
Yet, there are a lot of organizations out there that help people, and there have been some that have been very kind to us.
Hmm.
For example, they helped with meals, one of the organizations, and just a listening ear. There's this
Hmm.
one lady, happens to be a social worker, and she's like part of our family. She's done some unbelievable stuff. I never thought I would need this organization in my life. I used to donate stuff to them, and I used to be in the advertising business, and I believe that I gave them advertising space. And I just never thought it would be my
It
family.
came back to you. Yep, came back full circle. I think that's fabulous. I think life throws us all unexpected curves, but it always feels like it happens more so to someone else until it actually happens and hits home.
But I
And
found the beauty amidst the challenges
uh-huh.
because you can't be negative every day and you have to find the positivities and you just have to enjoy each day.
Right,
And I live day by day.
right. I think it's spectacular. And with that sentiment, I think that comes through in the poetry that you write, the poetry that you are reciting online. And if anybody hasn't caught it, I would really promote this. Joy, Joy is fabulous with words and has a way of relaying exactly what's happening and giving it the words have meaning. And if you don't mind, if you would be open to it, would you share a little bit of the background in the writing and what you're feeling uh, when you're doing this? What is the meaning behind it? Is it your own therapy? Are you helping others? Is it a combination? How what do you
I believe I believe my first poem was the warrior poem that you've probably seen that recited before. I
excellent.
think I wrote that for myself just for fun. And I sent it over to one of my social workers. I showed her a few of my poems, and she said they were unbelievable. And I got to do more. And it was therapeutic. And she started sharing them, whether to cancer patients or other in the medical field, other social workers, this and that. And I started writing, for example, my anxiety. People find that they're very real because
Hmm.
I really try to describe to help others, but I put a lot of positivity in it. I put a
Hmm.
lot of hope in there.
Right.
And still, my husband finds them very sad. My mom finds them sad. So then I started switching to writing to celebrities.
Uh-huh.
Uh, yeah, it's a little bit crazy, but I've been having fun with it rather than thinking about cancer every minute. So I'll
Well, let's go ahead and touch on that then. We can come back to your poetry and your writing, but since you have brought it up, I think that anybody who follows you and anybody who isn't following you, I encourage they find you. But the every post has a hashtag to pretty much every celebrity that I feel like you're trying to reach out to. And
I hope I'm not doing too much of it. I'm trying to make it cool, but
no, no,
they
but
get
but
hundreds of shout outs every day. You don't understand. Like, for example, Celine Dion,
yeah,
people are shouting her out every minute. Mr.
sure.
Beast is every second. I After 43 minutes, he had about 4,500 comments. I've
Oh my
never seen
gosh.
that. I think he's
Oh my
huge.
gosh. Well, all right. So your idea behind it with your message, what is it? What direction are you going? How did it begin? Was it,
Well, it started off because after the poems took place, I finished a book of poetry about cancer that I have to go record because I
uh,
realized it's hard to find an author who wants to publish poetry. And I don't know how much time I have, and I have a family. So I'll
sure.
just go to a recording studio, I decided. And
Hmm.
I wrote a song called Why Me, Why Us, Pourquoi Moi, Pourquoi Nous. It's the same thing in French. It's mostly an English song with a few French lines in there. And somebody told me they loved it and that I should get it produced. Well, I don't know anything about music. So my
Right.
Brody started composing a little bit. Maybe he'll let me use that one because he put together a beautiful song without words, just some, piano playing. And or I was joking sort of, maybe some Dion would help me. Now this was all a joke to try to see, is there someone out there that can help me? Support from someone smaller, obviously, because I don't really expect her to help me with that. But you know what? Maybe she would meet me one day. She's the kindest person.
Uh-huh.
And she's been known around Montreal. She's visited like wards, whether it be cancer wards or other pediatric wards. I know she's very big in helping with cystic fibrosis
Okay.
due to a niece that passed away years ago. She's a very kind woman with the biggest heart. So
Right.
that's sort of
Then,
how it
so
started.
that's how it started, and it continues on. And you do rate high. You're top fan. You rate high amongst their fan base. And I know it's. I think if you did have the chance, and it's not just recording, that is really the issue. I think if you had the chance to have somebody's ear, your
We can do
message
something big together. We could
your
help people.
your message can go much further, right? And I think that that is what I've gathered from our few conversations prior to this. It's what I've gathered when I read some of the posts that you make, and I really think I think you're a very strong person. My perception of you is. strength and inspiration. You mentioned that it does become very sad. It does become depressing. I know the family is affected. I know that the people around you aren't really sure how to take the news when it's a negative, when it's not what they're hoping to hear. This is not one person being ill. This is an entire family of people who are going through this journey together. And I think the message that you send out of keep going, try new things, helping others I mean, you need as much support as possible, and yet you go out into the world and offer your support. And I
Well, I
find
want
it
to let people know about earlier colonoscopies because, I was barely 50, and where I live, it's at 50, or if you have it in your family. Whereas
right,
I hear that in other states and other places, they do colonoscopies at 45 years old.
sure,
Well, the fact that none of these doctors knew the signs
right,
is what's sad to me because mine should not have taken months to be discovered. And
right,
why was my scan, when it was very serious, why did it sit there for 10 days before somebody read it?
right, right,
It doesn't
right.
make any sense to me.
Right, it doesn't. And in essence, time is ticking.
That's
And
what we think, yeah.
yes, yes,
The earlier you catch it, the earlier you start your treatment. Um,
right,
And
right.
originally, I was on a different social media platform that wasn't great like this one for me. I network very well on here,
Uh-huh.
and I by error was telling people they need to go for their annual colonoscopy. I was wrong about that. Apparently, it's only 10 years that you need to go for your colonoscopy, or if you have colon cancer, you go more frequently.
Right, right.
So
Or if there's a family
if
history,
there's a
correct?
family history, then
Yes,
they'll do it
right,
too. Yes.
right, right.
But
So
it's
I
the same
do,
like mammograms. Like people need to watch out for that. They should know the signs and,
right,
go get checked. It doesn't hurt you to get checked.
right. Um, Circling back though, do you have a family history?
So we only recently discovered it's possible that I have a great grandfather who might have died of colon cancer. Back then, they called cancer the big C.
Uh-huh.
And you kept it private, apparently. And
Uh-huh.
even my mother, though some family members, grandmother, grandfather died of cancer, she really doesn't know what kind of cancer. She thinks her grandmother was breast cancer because she heard talk or whatever. Maybe a breast
Right,
was removed, but
right.
it was different then. You kept the kids. You didn't share this stuff. It was different
Sure,
back then.
sure, sure. Right. So that gray area could make all the difference for someone. And I would imagine, I would think we were cancer free in my family if that was the way, I mean, if that was the story, if that was the way people kept it, I would never have known. And it sounds like that was the situation. So you couldn't go in when you were having these stomach pains and say, but please check. We have a history of,
Yeah, we didn't think
yeah,
about that.
right, right,
But
right.
I've started genetic testing. I'm going for the blood test this week. It's
Hmm.
basically to help my kids and my nieces and nephews and my brothers,
Right.
should they be checked? Could there be
Sure.
something?
Right, right. And they'll have a record of it. So if
Yeah,
it should happen to skip a generation or two
that's
generations,
true.
there's information out
Very
there.
important. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, all right, let's come back to your poetry because I think that's so important to discuss. Your
It's been a
poetry,
creative outlet for me during this difficult time, for sure.
yes, and I'm sure that it's very therapeutic. And your words are so eloquent. I think you were meant to do what you're doing right now. And perhaps this brings it to the forefront. And, we really don't know why you're on this journey. But you mentioned recording. Is that going to be available for purchase? Is that,
Certainly, yes. I'd like to make a real CD.
uh,
I'd like to do it as soon as possible. Hopefully, we get some money from our website, which you'll hear about soon.
yes,
Because I have no idea the costs of recording. I don't know how to record. Do I bring Brody with me? Does he play something in the background to make it sound better?
right.
And when am I well enough? Because sometimes my lungs are hurting that I
Yeah,
can't repeat over and over again. Though I was
sure.
told that the recording studio, they could pause and go back. You don't have to re-talk the whole poem.
Exactly, exactly. Sure. They'll do the editing and right. What would be absolutely fabulous if this podcast and interview lands on the ears of somebody who might be able to help out in that area. I would encourage it. It's even if they were able to give you some free hours, a few free hours, it would be for the greater good because your poetry is healing. It's absolutely beautiful, and I don't think you're stopping there. Are you doing anything else with your poetry aside from that?
Well, I'm thinking I sort of like the celebrity thing. I'm
Uh-huh.
enjoying writing celebrity poems.
Sure.
I have not written one for Celine Dion because I don't plan to write it until I meet her because it
Mhm.
needs to be more meaningful and more from the heart. I research about these other artists obviously before I put it all together, but I'd like to meet
Sure.
Celine Dion and do something together and make her a nice poem.
I think that would be fabulous. What about writing for events, speakers, weddings? Are you doing anything along those
Yes,
lines?
I'm looking at, I would love to write wedding proposals for bar mitzvahs, baby naming 50th anniversaries. I would really like to write more higher end poetry like that, not just a birthday, but something
Hmm.
special. And it's very competitive in my pricing. Well, really, I don't know what people charge, but it's very inexpensive to purchase a poem from me. And we might
Fabulous.
add that to the website. I don't know how we're going to do that. I also offer inspirational cards. They're
Uh,
only $20 and it's like a video card.
I love that. I love that idea. And you really are creative. And amongst all the challenges you have on a day-to-day basis, to know that you still keep going is such a beautiful message. I do want to take a quick break and we'll come back and have a conversation about your store because there's still more to discuss on all that you're doing. So we'll take a very quick break and return with that information. All right, we are back with Joy, and Harris has joined us just to have a bit of a conversation about a store that has been started and a movement that they began. And I'm probably just going to leave it at that and let Harris explain to us exactly how it began, what's in it, and give us all the information on how we might be able to access the store and make some purchases.
Okay, yeah. So the store is called healingforjoy.com. Healing with the number four joy.com. And basically, like my mom, she's always like helping people in a way. So what she wanted to do was basically we've always talked about, oh, maybe we can sell some inspirational stuff. And that's kind of like where it began, I guess. Like whenever she was in the hospital, I would always be like, oh, well, maybe something about this can turn into something that we can motivate others with.
Yeah,
So she started to talk to me about a couple of things, and so then I pitched her some designs. I like digital design, so I went on Canva and made some designs. I showed them to her. Yeah, she liked them, and then ever since then, I got the store ready, and that's basically how it started.
I think it's really fabulous how the family is rallying around all of this. I think your support is unwavering. I think this is just one more layer as to how you are showing your love to each other and the support from the creative side of it seems to just go hand in hand. Your mom is such a creative with her poetry and her writing, and I think it must be something that's running in the family and a great way to fall back on each other in this particular time. So, when people go on and they make their purchase, how is that allocated? Are we raising funds to bring awareness? Is that what I'm gathering? We want to bring more awareness to early detection and providing support to others. Is that what we're really aiming for with the sales of these items?
Yeah, we're trying to raise money and like for research and we're trying to yeah, just a lot of these designs they're to show people like hey, this can happen to anyone and like it's not something that should be left like unnoticed. People should really think about this. And so right now we don't have as many things as we'd like to have on there because we're kind of just in the beginning phase, but soon enough we're going to be adding more items on there.
I think it's absolutely phenomenal. I love it. I love the support. And I was um talking about some of the treatments early on with Joy, and she speaks of it matter of factly, but I know for people who have actually experienced illness in their families, it's not just a matter of going to the doctor and getting scans. There's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot of fear. I'm sure that you're all experiencing concern, worry. There's more to it. If you'd like to open that conversation, Joy, maybe you can share some of that real and raw intensity that your family actually goes through, and perhaps it might help folks understand why the store can mean so much to other people by making those purchases and bringing awareness. Perhaps you can be doing something not just for your family, but for families all over.
Yeah, well, we'd like to be able to donate a small portion of the sales and then increase it as we make more money, to different cancer associations. Obviously, colon cancer is close to me, but DPG, children's cancer, is also something that I would like to give funding for.
Sure.
Um, it's important, and some of these causes don't get as much funding as others, or
Mhm.
it just more research needs to be done.
What
Um,
I what I like about selling an item or products is the fact that people don't really feel like they're just handing over their money. They are actually getting something in return. So for that purchase, they're receiving something, yet the money is being placed in the right hands to
well, I
help.
already got two letters. Like one lady purchased for her mother who's going through cancer, I believe it was. She bought her a nice cozy blanket, and someone
Uh-huh.
else bought a blanket, a hoodie, and something else. And I
Sure.
forget what her story was. It's nice to hear stories from others and that you're helping others.
Right.
And we wanted to think of more meaningful items to put on the site, but the shipping costs ended up being extravagant, like it's through the roof, some of them.
Yeah, because like one of the what I'm using to ship it isn't like the traditional way you isn't the traditional method you'd use to ship out products. It's not
Right.
like we have the 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 stock at our house, but that's what we want to aim for because like that you can control like the shipping prices and
Mhm.
eventually we want to meet with like designers who can print it themselves. So it will really reduce like the amount of labor that's put into it.
Well, I think that's a challenge small businesses have. They're not Amazon. They're not these big box companies that are shipping all over the world millions and millions of items every day, every week. And so these shipping costs do become part of the pricing and when you're trying to do something and do good. I think that there is a little bit of the feeling that maybe that you're overcharging, but I feel like anybody who
Exactly.
supports a small business should understand, that it's out of your control.
Yeah, we're not getting the shipping costs. I want to
Right,
put
you're
it
not
to the
getting the
lie.
shipping costs. Right, right. And most small businesses operate that way. They just they're at the mercy of whatever shipping company they're utilizing, who will take their small batches and their drop ships. All right, so we've covered all of that. We've covered the poetry. What else would either one of you like to add to the conversation?
Well,
I mean,
I
I
think that because of my cancer diagnosis, my kids are more aware, and Harris is involved at school in an organization for kids raising money. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, I can talk about that a little bit. Wait, you should. Yeah, the blurriness. Anyways,
yes.
so yeah, kind of like she said, I mean, I so basically at my school we have a program for children to it's basically to raise money for children with cancer. And I heard about it last year and I was like, oh, how do I get involved? But it wasn't for my grade. So basically this year I've been involved in a couple like organizations like this. One of them was to raise money for underprivileged kids for to have like a big Christmas party with them. And then the same person who runs that told us about this organization, and I was like, oh, well, just me joining that, it would mean a lot to me, and I think it would mean a lot to my mom as well, seeing what I could do because yeah, it's just so horrible. You see these little children having to go through this, and just to be able to make a difference would be really special for me.
Right, right. I think the compassion that you have at your age is only a stepping stone to some really great things for your future. And I love the fact that you're such an example to others by your contributions. I love the whole family dynamic feels like um like tragedy has stricken and it's only made you stronger and more unified and more compassionate. It could really go both ways, and I'm absolutely embracing your entire family. I love what you're doing. I love the spirit. I love the support, and I love the way all the conversation has been to find ways to support other people. I think you realize how much you mean to each other and that everybody doesn't. This is a gift. Everybody does not have what you have. And I think it's absolutely stunning and beautiful the way you carry yourselves and the way you um, continuously seek how to help others.
I think the kids will grow up more empathetic, kind to others, supporting good causes. It's
Right,
not the way I wanted it to be, but it's the way you want your kids to be because,
right,
it's not about money, it's about kindness and,
right,
having a good life like that because you can't
right,
take your life with you. Why not help others? And
right,
their
right.
joy, and it's nice to watch people receive stuff and see their smiles on their faces. And I have a background working with special needs kids, but they helped me. They're the ones that brought me such joy and so much to my life. So
Well, the fact that being ill and having any sort of diseasement in the body system is stress enough. It's not just a mental stress like so many people consider, but it stresses the entire body system. It's stress within each system of the body. Your mind isn't the only activating process. It starts there, but everything hurts when you're stressed. And I think showing love and showing compassion helps to ease that stress. It makes people feel like it's a hug and they're getting a warm hug from someone when they receive a gift or when they receive someone's time or a moment of conversation. And there are so many ways to be able to help people and ease some of that stress that's going on with them.
I hope
Um,
my poetry will help other cancer patients so they know what it's like before going in for radiation. That's why I posted that very raw picture of me in the radiation room because I didn't know what it was like,
right,
and I took the
right,
teddy bear to show some hope, to show it's okay.
And
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 not fun.
and to my point, you're sharing your journey and it's making the journey of others a little bit more tolerable. They're more prepared. I don't think that the medical systems really prepare people. They just let them know when they have to show up, when they're scheduled, and then they arrive to something that they were unprepared for.
So many unknowns every step of
Right,
the way. Did not know
right,
what to expect.
right. How are your lungs doing now? And I only ask because it has been quite a journey with your lungs, but I think public speaking or motivational speaking would be somewhere in your future. And it, I'm wondering if you're thinking the same thing, even reading your poetry out loud
Talked about that.
as a forum.
I would love to go and give motivational speeches while my husband travels for his international law.
Uh-huh,
That was always my intention, but now I have more of a purpose,
right,
what I want to do with it. And it's not just my cancer journey. Our family has experienced some incredible experiences that I'm not going to share now.
right.
Um, but just some very interesting things. My father is very well connected. He's in the medical field and he knows everybody, and he's helped us many times put us in touch with the right people.
Joy,
And
I would even say your background with special education would be something that would be incredibly helpful. Parents aren't really, they don't know what to expect even when the children are born healthy. But when there is any sort of special need involved, I think having somebody in their corner advocating, sharing stories, letting them know what they may be in for when they're in particular stages or how to perhaps help them get through tantrums or whatever the case may be. Let them understand that they're not alone, that this isn't just their child that goes through this. It's across the board. I think you have several platforms to share your information and your knowledge.
thank you.
I mean, we could talk for forever just making a list of all the wonderful things that you can contribute to the lives of others because you're
Well,
already on your way.
you know what? I was following for 2 years when I got my diagnosis. I went on Facebook and I was in bed a lot of the time. And I would just read stories, cancer patients. I follow a lot of autism pages, wonderful people with Down syndrome who have created their own businesses. That brought a lot of happiness to me. But a few of the cancer patients, they passed recently, and it's just too sad for me. My therapist said, get off that. It's
Hmm.
harming you in a way. And I created my own thing instead,
Right, right. And
which is
and
healthier for me.
it is, I can see that. I can see that therapy, um, what you have found to be therapeutic for yourself has also become a therapy for others. I think that following you has now, instead of perhaps you being online reading all of and connecting with other patients, now those patients have you to connect with and they're following your story. And
I hope I could make a difference because these people have made a difference in my life and they've helped so many people. I
sure.
don't expect to get big like any of them, but whatever it is, even helping a few people is nice.
Right, right. Well, I know we have discussed continuing this conversation. There's so much more to talk about, and I think we may be bringing your husband in on a few conversations, and you have a musician in the family, and I think we may be enjoying a little bit of entertainment on that end. So we will look forward to connecting soon on a future show, sometime within the next few weeks. Until then, do you have anything you'd like to say? Maybe give the shout out of your store again and any emails, anything that you'd like for connection.
Yeah, if you guys want to go find the store, it's www.healingforjoy.com.
And please follow my Facebook page. anybody out there knows Celine Dion or Taylor Swift, some of my poems to pass on. And I'm very excited that I was the #1 top engager on Mr. Beast's page. It means nothing, but he's the kindest man, guys. Give him a follow. This guy gives money to strangers and helps a lot of people. So it's worth the watch. He's a nice guy.
That's fabulous. Joy, thank you. Harris, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Thank
And
you.
until we meet again in a few weeks, stay well.
Thank you. Thank you for so much for finding me and having us. It's these meaningful connections,
I,
and
it's it,
it's
it's
wonderful.
it's undeniable. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Would you like to be a guest on the show? Send me an email at themindbodylounge@gmail.com.